Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. September 17th, 1988 is this particular edition, and we are very close to the end of our series. About 7 more episodes, something like that, available on the network. And so I'm actually pretty excited to be moving on to something else after 300 and what will end up being 340 episodes of the program. Skandor Akbar recruits Kendall Windham. Obviously, Akbar having history with both Barry Windham in Florida, and more accurately for here, Blackjack Mulligan, aka the patriarch of the and first generation Windham. Kendall turns him down. Kendall Windham is a guy I never really understood in the sense that he's so lean and thin in comparison to Barry. I think it hurt his career overall. Anyway, Windham manages to fight with Killer Tim Brooks. Brooks, again, I've mentioned before, the kind of guy who they bring through the area to make sure that a guy can handle himself in the ring. Brooks kind of at the tester. Few shots by Windham early, hit the backdrop, and certainly I think the fans, they want to get behind Windham, but I don't know that it necessarily works out the way that everybody planned. Certainly an interesting dichotomy of time here. We also do see a bit of kind of the push pull. Power attack more by Brooks. Brooks also manages to get the man down into a rear chin lock. Gets a few minutes out of that. So I mean, you get a lot of just extra time out of simple moves. Brooks, using the turnbuckle, using everything he can. Then we kind of see Windham beat down after an arm drag scenario where he's winning, and then we kind of see Brooks take over Windham a little bit. Windham fights from underneath with a few shots. Never really finds, I would say, a definitive stroke of, major offense in the match. Does, however, come out with a victory. Almost a crooked stinger splash followed by a bulldog, and Windham gets the victory. Here, Buddy Roberts addresses Hayes and Cox, basically says the Samoans will eliminate them eventually. He talks about being part of a new tribal family, talks about it being better than the Freebirds, talks about being really happy with where he's at, and then we kind of see the Beast against Dan Fowler in the main event. I don't know that this is not just Kamala being renamed the Beast or the second Kamala being brought in from Japan. It looks like Kamala. I assume it's still Kamala, but I don't understand the renaming, so that's a bit interesting. I would have to do a little more research if I was around World Class for much more than a few more weeks here on this headbutt, and I'm just going to call him Kamala for lack of a better term. Irish whip there, big flying clothesline type maneuver, axe handle, and the Beast ending up with the victory, top rope splash, and top rope elbow wobble, more accurately. Victory there. Fowler goes down in quick order. Steve Cox, who is officially on his own, managing to go into a promo against Buddy Roberts, basically saying he's been raised as a mini Freebird. He understands from Michael Hayes what it is to fight all day, party all night, that kind of thing. Really basic promo. He's not ready to be his own promo. Music video of Jerry Lawler getting ready for the AWA Super Clash thing, which they start promoting at the beginning of October, so within the next week or two, which is a pay-per-view of joint promotions into December, taking place in December of that year. Of course, World Class is no longer on our radar at that point as a national company. But the championship still exists, and it's a last-ditch effort by rival promoters to keep going. Jerry Lawler, though, does cut a promo basically saying that every champion in wrestling other than the AWA champion is a paper champion. Kerry Von Erich willing to, in fact, you know, defend the WCWA championship against the AWA championship, unify the belts. The idea here to get a one world championship vibe. Ric Flair can only wrestle people in the NWA at this point. Hulk Hogan, and they don't name him by name, but the WWE, or Randy Savage, I think, they do mention him by name because Savage is the champion at this point, can only wrestle people in the WWF. Lawler and Kerry Von Erich go head to head. Single punch. Lawler with a loaded fist manages to knock out Kerry Von Erich. Big thing there. I mean, and obviously this being in the Sportatorium, lots of heel heat on Lawler for that. Super Black Ninja up against Jerry Newton next. Newton, of course, just a random enhancement talent. Not a huge deal there. And again, the martial arts kick, elbow drop by the Super Ninja. Again, I think if World Class had stayed more on a national level, Super Ninja, which I'm pretty sure is Great Muta without the paint. I don't know that, but because Muta is the one that brings the moonsault to the area, I'm assuming that's what that is. Anyway, that's a pretty big deal. Then Skandor Akbar promises to get rid of Terry Gordy once and for all. Basically says Gordy has been a problem in World Class for years. They've had an alliance in the past. It no longer applies. Akbar again showing his heelish tendencies. And I mean, what a drop here. Light heavyweight championship match. Eric Emery and Vince Apollo is your main event. I mean, to think that that's a main event anywhere is just awkward and uncomfortable. It's not that Vince Apollo isn't a good wrestler. He's a good hand, but to put him in a main event on a syndicated program just strikes me as, this is certainly beyond the beginning of the final stage for World Class. Apollo, as far as the match is concerned, does make a good showing for himself. Sunset flip attempt, and then they work a headlock for several minutes. They're given almost 10 minutes before the end of the program here to ply their trade. Emery is a guy who, again, does manage to do quite well in the area for a good bit of time. He uses chokes and every bit of illegal activity he possibly can. Cheap shot by Emery gets him an advantage, and then, Apollo almost gets an attempt at a victory here. Irish whip hits a leaping back elbow, does Apollo. Apollo goes for several near falls, does not get the victory, obviously, but, Emery takes him out of the corner, brings him out, and again, very brash, and Apollo never fully takes a complete loss, and Emery does end up walking away with the victory. And then we kind of see the replay of Lawler knocking out Kerry Von Erich to close the show. And we will be back with more right after this.